This is the Orioles POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Baltimore Orioles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Baltimore Orioles POSTCAST here on the Locked On Podcast Network. As always, my name is Luke Slaybaugh, and I'm here to walk you through this 10-1 win over the Detroit Tigers on Wednesday night. Yes, those very same AL-leading Detroit Tigers. As a reminder, we are streaming live on YouTube for this show, as we always do, and it's available on demand after the fact next day. So if you're watching this live right now, I want to say thank you on YouTube. You are part of this community that is so great. And before we continue any further, go ahead in the comment section, let me know where you're watching from and who your player of the game is. We'll do a reveal at the start of the second block. If you're in your car the next day, if you just want to catch up on the Orioles, maybe you just listened to Connor's show, or you're about to, if you listen to it in sequential order, go ahead, shout it out loud. Who's your star of the game? Who's your star of this 10-1 Baltimore Orioles win? I want to say thank you here. It's Wednesday, June 11th. And what we're talking about? A blowout win. The most runs for the Orioles since opening day and the most hits all season against the AL-leading Detroit Tigers.
This is what you'll be talking about.
And keep in mind, this was a 3-1 game heading into the eighth inning. Like, this was a trapeze sort of act for right-hander Zach Eflin and the O's bullpen, which they were navigating quite well. However, this could have been a ho-hum by the skin of your teeth type of win. In fact, I had an entire block dedicated to the 1-for-12 start with runners in scoring position, which now seems like a moot point. It's nice to keep in the back of your mind, given the way that this season has gone for Baltimore. However, here we are, talking about this blowout win. So it's 3-1. Bottom of the eighth. Right-hander Brendan Hanafy on the mound. Ramón Laureano at first. Cedric Mullins gets a fastball out over the plate and crushes it to right center field into the gap for a double. They had been messing with him all day, leaving him stuff around the middle of the plate. Fastballs. Not sure if they saw something in the scouting report or on video where he was late, or they thought they could challenge him. You're not going to do that against Mullins. Laureano scores, chugs around. There's no relay to the plate. It's 4-1 Orioles. 2 outs in the inning and Bo Brisky on the mound for Detroit. Jackson Holliday at the plate, and Brisky throws a wild pitch in the dirt, goes back to the backstop. Mullins comes in and scores, and it's a 5-1 ball game. So still 2 outs, not a safe situation anymore, but a little breathing room for the Orioles. And you think, okay, they've tacked on 2 runs. This is great. Jackson Holliday hits a ball up the middle, deflects off of Brisky, fielded by Gleyber Torres at second, and it's an infield hit. The second infield hit deflected off the pitcher by Jackson Holliday. He had one earlier against Casey Mize. Brisky proceeds to lose all control. Walks Adley Rutschman, and despite his best efforts, Gunnar Henderson also reaches via the free pass for the second time this game, I might add. So the bases are loaded, and the only Oriole without a hit, Ryan O'Hearn, comes to the plate. He has considerably cooled off since his red-hot May, still hitting in the 300s. However, he had shown some frustration, had grounded out into a double play his previous plate appearance. And 3-2 count, fastball high, not in the zone. O'Hearn tomahawks it into center field, lands right in front of the outfielder. 2 runs come in and score, and it is a 7-1 ball game. We relax. A sigh of relief. Can breathe in and out. Do those yoga stretches. Go to bed early. Jordan Westburg says nope. Gets a sinker inside. In on the hands. Well-located pitch. Knocks it inside the left field foul pole. A 3-run home run. And bang. 10-1. That is your final. You know, interim manager Tony Mansolino has said that Westburg is the glue that kind of fits this whole thing together. That's what George Lucas said about Jar Jar Binks in the prequels. But you see the evidence here. Back-to-back games with home runs after being activated. This is no joke. I saw some crazy stat on Matheson. And not only is Westburg one of 7 Orioles with a multi-hit game, 16 hits, mind you. But let me take a look at this. Yeah, the O's have a .650 winning percentage with Cowser, Westburg, and Mullins in the lineup since the start of 2024. .467 without. That is the difference between a great team and a not so great team. A mediocre team, mind you. And what have we seen for the first 2+ months of the season? And with that combination of Mullins, Westburg, and Cowser, it's a sample size of 60 games, averaging 5.3 runs per game. It's a fun little nugget there, and also indicative of what could have been had Cowser not gone down. The presence that he and Westburg brought to this lineup, particularly in that Toronto series to open the year, team had a little bit more swagger. I remind you that this was a 3-1 game heading into the 8th inning. And all this wouldn't have been possible without the game-winning hit from one Ramón Urías.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
We rewind bottom 3, right-hander Casey Mize on the mound, the former number 1 overall pick out of Auburn, and he's pitching pretty well. As I had mentioned earlier, challenges Cedric Mullins with a first pitch 4-seam fastball down the middle, a double to right field. Next batter, Urías, gets a first pitch low sinker, not a bad pitch at all, and is able to lift it over that left field wall to give the O's a 2-0 lead. And immediately after that, Holiday hit his comebacker single off of Casey Mize. To no avail, he didn't score. It's Ramon's first home run since April 30th. If you remember that series win and that finale against the New York Yankees, hit a home run at Detroit in April. But a huge shout out to the guys tacking on runs. And we'll get to that a little bit in the second block. Go ahead, before we continue, leave a comment in the chat. Who's your player of the game? Because you have 8 guys to talk about, including one that I'm going to talk about in the next block. We might not know what we have in Zach Eflin in terms of how much we really should appreciate him, because he was nails tonight and put this team in a position to win. Really high leverage spots, efficient with his pitches, wonderful guy. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some of the missed opportunities to put this game away earlier. And some Gunnar Henderson notes. Adley Rutschman. Some really encouraging signs of progress from Gunnar Henderson. We're going to talk about all that after this break. As you can see, sometimes I fail to punch the buttons. Show's brought to you by Monarch Money. Money makes the world go round, as they said in Cabaret. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Be your personal CFO. It's not just a budgeting app, although some of us could stand to do that. Looking at you. Complete financial command center. Stop managing your money, start building wealth. You can track your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. When I started using Monarch, I was like, man, do I really go to Whole Foods that much? And it turns out I do. And that's an addiction you got to break sometimes. Zach Eflin says winning is an addiction. And I say the hot bar at Whole Foods is an addiction. You tell me what I should do. I should use Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB, all one word, LOCKEDONMLB, for half off your first year. Am I ever going to fix my washing machine? Landlord says no. He says go to Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Website is super clean, super fresh. Would recommend checking it out. Even if you just want to look at metal parts, maybe that's your thing. There's over 200,000 of them, 400 plus top brands, and they're delivered fast from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service. You're always going to talk to a real person. If you're looking for an extra edge, you're a real trade pro. The free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's our turn, you and me, and all of the people. Join the Trademaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM. Start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use the promo code SH5. That's the letter S, H, and 5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Now back to the good stuff. Are you ready?
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
For a moment in time, Zack Efflin was pitching like the ace that he always aspired to be. Could not help but wonder tonight what could have been had the injury bug not bitten him and his right lat had been fine. Had been fine. Retired every leadoff man, each of the 7 frames that he pitched. Was shaping up to be his best start in an O's uniform. There are 2 that come to mind. The 7 scoreless against the White Sox roughly a week ago. That's not too impressive given what Chicago aspired to be in the American League. And then the 7 innings against Tampa Bay at Tampa last year after he had been acquired. Zack Eflin established the cutter inside, made use of his changeup as an out pitch, and had good command all around. The Orioles do not win this game without solid starting pitching. And with 40% of the rotation, Eflin and Tomoyuki Sagano being relatively sharp, if only for just a few clunkers, 1 or 2 apiece this year, there's a lot to dream on. Had this O's team had a relatively clean bill of health. You know, Grayson Rodriguez is out, and Kyle Bradish is out, and a couple bumps and bruises. Man, Jordan Westburg, Colton Cowser, and Zach Eflin. With those 3, maybe the season looks different. And the dialogue around the trade deadline and the prospects for managers and all the in-season drama, perhaps it looks a lot different. Zach Eflin strikes out 5 on the night, diversifies his looks and his strikeout pitches. His first hit, allowed, 3 2/3 in. Riley Green getting up on a hanging off speed pitch. But some really good highlights from Eflin. First batter of the game, Parker Meadows frozen on a changeup. Top of the 4th, Kerry Carpenter whiffing on a changeup. Spencer Torkelson frozen by a sinker, which under different circumstances and maybe a different look, he pounds that ball. Eflin strikes out Wenzel Perez on a cutter high, top 5. Top 6, Meadows checks a swing on a curveball, goes a little bit too far. Some really good jobs getting out of jams there in the 6th. With a runner on first, Gleyber Torres had singled. Kerry Carpenter gets that 2-0 changeup, hits it to Jackson Holliday. The only bit of trouble that Eflin ran into, 1 out, top 7. First time he had allowed multiple runners on base, first and second. Colt Keith hits a hanging changeup off the right field wall. Thank goodness it did not go out. Would have changed the momentum of this game entirely. Torkelson scores, gets a late jump. Makes it a 2-1 ball game, Detroit trailing by 1. Eflin's on the ropes. Dylan Dingler pinch hitting for Jake Rogers, a catcher for catcher swap. An 0-1 sinker is a 1-hopper to Ramón Urías, 3rd. Throws to Adley Rutschman, is able to tag out Wenzel Perez. Eflin leaves the game with the lead after 6 2/3, which was a good move by manager Tony Mansolino. His left-hander Keegan Aiken comes in, carves up Jahmai Jones on a high heater. And that's all she wrote. Happy for the former first-round pick, who was once traded for Jimmy Rollins. And the 4.08 ERA is not indicative of his upside and his performance. Just a couple of clunkers, as we mentioned this year. The D-Day loss to the Washington Nationals, the day that Brandon Hyde was fired. That was a bad loss to the Nats. And then at Boston, in the middle of that nor'easter downpour, kind of a false start and stop to that game. Understandable. It's Zach Eflin's 18th regular season start in an O's uniform, 19th total if you count the game against Kansas City in the playoffs. And he goes 6 2/3, an earned run, 5 hits, 5 strikeouts, and 1 walk. I was thinking about talking about the O's starting 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. I'm not gonna. Instead, let's just say thank you and be grateful for Gunnar Henderson and Cedric Mullins. We mentioned Mullins' part in that 8th inning. Adley Rutschman got the tacking on runs started in the bottom of the 7th. Up against a left-hander and Tyler Holton, he doubles into the left field corner. And Gunnar, which was so great to see, OPSing 413 this season against lefties, needs a pick-me-up. Gets a weak floater to center field on a low sweeper. It drops. Adley scores. Made it a 3-1 ball game. Signs are encouraging from this. You hope the O's have more in the tank. This 10-1 win over the Detroit Tigers here on Wednesday night with some standout performances. The O's finished 4 for 16 with runners in scoring position. And after that 1 for 12 start, they don't leave any runners on base. They leave 8, and that could be improved upon in future endeavors. That's the beauty of this game. You get 162 chances to do just that starting tomorrow. It's the rubber game against the AL leading Detroit Tigers, potential World Series favorite. Work's cut out for him. Left-hander Tarek Skubal on the mound against right-hander Dean Kramer. Who do you think has the advantage? Skubal is the reigning Cy Young winner. He has everything and then some. All that and a bag of chips. 6-2 with a 2.16 ERA and 105 strikeouts. We are not even to the All-Star break. What kind of Detroit voodoo AJ Hinch magic is going on out there? How do we stop it? Dean Kramer does not have those numbers. Dean Kramer is 5-6 with a 4.98 ERA. So I pose to you, what is your routine to conjure up the Orioles magic? And how great would it be to take 2 out of 3 from Detroit and putting that whole athletic Sacramento series behind you? Could be the start of something great. And it starts at 6:35 tomorrow night on MASN 2. Orioles Magic. I want to say thank you for joining me here on this Wednesday night. My name is Luke Slaybaugh. As always, this is the Orioles Postcast. It streams live to YouTube, and it is available on demand. So wherever you're watching or listening, and whenever you may be, I want to say I'm thankful for you. I'm grateful that you're here. This is a great community that we've built here at Locked On Orioles. This is bonus content. Connor Newcomb has his regular 5-day-a-week show. There should be something in the morning with his thoughts on this 10-1 win over the Detroit Tigers. Good night, stay safe, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow night.